driving here, and I'll just be adjusting.
Well, hopefully you can help me out.
Yeah.
So yeah, my goal for today is to well, I guess not just read text from a PDF, but like let me open up a PDF to make it clear. Dot PDF. Okay, yeah. Okay, so this PDF, this is the Federal Form 1040, and it has labels like your first name and initial, and then the content of the field is right here. And what I would like to do is, like, ultimately, I would like to fill out this PDF in using Common Lisp. So figure out this text label that goes with this text field and fill it in, possibly asking the user for input. So, like, this might prompt the user with this text or show an HTML form with this text and then an input field, and then the user can fill it in. And then they wouldn't need to fill it in on the next form and the next form and the next form, and so and like the state form and all that. That's the idea. Um, First name, middle initial, last name. This actually ends up needing to be first name and then separately middle initial and then separately last name, because on the California form, it's first name and then middle initial. So um, this field on the federal that wants first name and middle initial can be calculated from first name separate from middle initial. Anyway, there's a bunch of different like considerations like that. Um, and yeah, my goal is my goal is to read the text fields that are associated with the labels that are associated with text fields, and then be able to fill in those text fields. Um, so that way, the process of doing taxes is more automatic, less tedious, less error prone, faster, all of that, all the things that it could possibly be.
Rather
Um,
than using like an H&R Block, you're saying, right? Essentially.
Yeah, exactly. So like right now, if you want to do all this stuff, you could go to H&R Block and pay them uh a like and tell them, not only pay them money but also give them your information. Um
Which is also a security problem, right?
yeah, or like I don't know, maybe I just don't feel like giving my information on every little thing to someone else. Um yeah. Uh so so this is like a privacy advocacy. This is like a there's just a lot of a human effort put into this that doesn't need to be. If it was just automated, like it could be automated once, and then everybody could benefit from that automation, or not everybody but like a lot of people. um and I could benefit uh, by, I don't know, putting ads on it, and then it could pay for itself. It by itself would be an ad for me being able to write code, and you helping me out, and whoever else helps me. Uh, yeah. Um, so
So first things first, let me
yeah.
do something here because it looks like I may have to install this. Um,
So I already got
uh,
from
I,
one of the command line tools this information, which has like XY coordinates for every individual word, and then it also puts them into lines and then gathers those together into blocks. And I looked at it, and it seems to do a pretty good job about that. Let me know when you're done bringing up whatever it is you're bringing
so
up.
I'm just trying to um, get PDF to text on Homebrew
Ah, okay.
because um, I think that's a good way of leveraging. Um, well, according to let me rename.
Whoa. The audio was super weird on that.
Sorry, let me reframe what I just said.
Are
Okay,
you an alien?
so in a nutshell, to begin with, regarding the task of just reading the PDF.
Yeah.
Okay. What you did with PDF to text is certainly one way of actually being able to, and probably the most forward way, um, of doing what you want. Because PDF to text is probably the most full featured tool out there for just converting PDFs to plain text. Um, and uh, from what I read and what I just confirmed with ChatGPT, um, there isn't actually a library out there outside of you writing effectively the equivalent of PDF to text in Common Lisp using CFFI, which basically means you're going to be using the same C library that PDF to text uses, which is Poplar. Um,
Yeah. I
there really isn't a library out there that does PDF reading inside Common Lisp.
yeah.
Okay.
I
So that
that's what
isn't to say
I
though we can't
found.
use Common Lisp. It just means that we're going to use Common Lisp more like a shell script, where we go and reach out to PDF to text and all these other tools to generate stuff, and Common Lisp becomes the glue that puts them together.
Yeah, so
Okay.
that's kind of what I found out by looking at. I also looked at an LLM. I used Claude, but it gave a similar um, conclusion. One thing that so it also suggested there's this tool called CLPDF and CLPDF parser. But when I looked at it, it was unclear to me how active that is. It looks like it's dead, and that doesn't mean for sure that it's
See,
not
a lot of these
usable. But
PDF tools, once they're done, like
yeah,
implementing the core PDF, you know, format,
whatever it is that
it's
they
they
wanted to
kind of
do.
stabilize. It's kind of like, okay, there isn't going to be any changes unless there's some sort of major bug that needs to be fixed. You're on your own, you
Yeah,
know. Um,
the README seemed to suggest that the person who made CLPDF had a particular thing to do and did it, and is now no longer working on CLPDF because whatever other thing that person wanted to do is done now. Um, and yeah, Poplar was suggested. Um, it also suggested. So I tried to do CFFI, and I got this. Um, and I figured that was just maybe something that you could help with. Where I tried to run
okay,
the
so did you
code.
install Poplar first off on Linux? Because Poplar is actually a specific package that you need to install.
Uh, I have events, so I think I have like libpoplar. I don't know. Is there like a package called Poplar or something like that?
Do app search Poplar. I think libpoplar is the C library, but I'm not sure. So you see all these wrappers, like on top of them, you need to go and look at. I think it's libpopular Qt6 or something like that. There we go.
PDF viewer with Vim-like behavior. That's cool. Gur popular. So the G-object introspection data libpopular popular. I keep calling it popular. Libpopular dev. Looks like I. Oh, okay. So I have this installed. Um, yeah. Am I looking for something in particular?
It sounds like, hold on, could you scroll up just a minute?
Oh,
There it
this might
is.
be useful.
You see right there, libpopular Qt6 dev. There is a libpopular Qt6 that you may want to check. I think it might be the one above it. It says a shared library, Qt6 based shared library, PDF rendering library. Yeah, you may need to install that. I don't know if you installed libpopular at all. Um,
Uh,
did
well, I
Did you
have
do an app search on that and see if you have it and see what
so
version you have?
I have this libpopular CPP 0T64. I don't know what that means. glib
Here's the
8
problem with
t64,
um
qt5. Yeah,
a lot of these
I have
crap. Okay, so you're gonna
libpoppler
have to take a look
134.
at and take a page out of the folks who wrote um fuck, I'm forgetting what the apologies, YouTube. Um uh Qlot. Qlot uses Qt. They wrote wrappers. So I've been looking into this myself just because I want Qt to be available. And honestly, as a side note, uh, I've been meaning to try and see if I could write a Qt backend for McClim, just because if I wrote a Qt backend in McClim, I can actually hit, essentially all the platforms at once, rather than doing like what one of my other friends is doing, which is writing it in straight. He's doing it in OpenGL, but eventually he wanted to do it in Vulkan.
Gotcha.
Um, but there's a library called LQML that
Okay.
actually um, wrote stuff on top of Qt5 and Qt6, but they did it a specific way. Because remember, I think you already know this. Um, C++ directly cannot be wrapped into a library that can be loaded into a Lisp image. It cannot be compiled into unless you do like unless you can explicitly guarantee that the shared library is using C name mangling, which means you would have to compile the code from source. Um, there's literally no way of you being able to load that shared library into a Lisp image.
Gotcha.
Does
Oh,
that make
yeah,
sense?
that
So
reminds me. Because of the FFI, the name mangling, they don't have like a standard way of doing it or something.
it's not that they don't have a standard way of doing it. It's that their standard way is C. So historically, do you know about? Hold on, let me rewind a minute. How much do you know about name mangling?
Uh, I know that it's used for when you compile text into object code, you need to use it for uh, you need to do it in a standard way so that other libraries potentially compiled at different times or in different code bases can reliably call your code.
Or different compilers?
Sure, and different
If they're on
compilers.
the same operating system, different compilers should not matter. They should be able to hook into your library because often they'll use the same platform-specific standard C runtime.
Gotcha.
Often, I wouldn't say that it's always the case. In which case you would have to probably recompile for that standard library, but often that is the case. Um, so okay, so let me just quickly give you this 10,000 overfoot explanation of this because this is important to know in general.
Okay.
Um, when so you're slightly right in what it is, what it's used for, all right, what the name mangled symbols are used for. Okay, it's also used for it's for mainly its main use is portability, right, between different compilers, building shared libraries, or even between different what's it uh
Languages?
different languages that ultimately compile to something that C can link into.
Gotcha.
All right. So when you're linking in together, they need to be able to look up these symbols. Okay. So a name mangled symbol is nothing more than literally when you in assembly, it's a label that's going to be attached to effectively what would be the code related to a function call. Okay. That's what it is at its heart. Okay. Because remember, when you're talking about variables and stuff, you use register allocation to store a variable in some memory location, and then effectively, because we write instructions sequentially, not in parallel, it knows when it's in line something something that register is going to load something from memory to represent said variable. All right. So the only reason you really need a name symbol is an exported symbol defining either some sort of function, right?
Yeah.
Um, or whatnot, right? Now, C has this for all functions, okay? And it's a pretty simple name mangling scheme. When it came to C++, though, because of the fact that they added also essentially private and public functions, amongst other things, they had to change the scheme a little bit. Mainly, they wanted it to have some ability, at least from if you and the easiest way to know this is you can actually in your compiler there's a flag to say um, compile the C labels, the C name mangling scheme. So
Okay.
use C symbol, C name mangling scheme. I think is the code name mangling
Is the
scheme
flag?
in clang. Yeah, flag. The flag is uh what the hell is that flag name? Dear- oh, come on. I know GCC has it. It's in um and it's in Clang. Hold on too as well.
It's
Clang
probably
use
the same
C.
flag name, right?
I would think. But I don't know. Um Here we go. Name mangling in C++
Unless
with
Clang
Clang.
has moved on from embrace to extend.
Right. Um let's see. Inspecting generated things, blah blah blah. Okay. And where is the flag is C name symbols. No, that's not it. Um,
So I have an even harder thing that I'm considering, which is the HTML file that is created uses this library called iText. There it is, iText, and that's actually the same library that I was using in Clojure, but it's a library on the JVM. So I would need to somehow interact with a JVM library from Common Lisp in order to use it.
so you could use a JVM based common Lisp if you wanted to use it. Armed Bear is actually a full blown common Lisp in the JVM.
Interesting.
ABCL. And funny enough, it actually implements it in such a way that you could also use Quick Lisp. Most Quick Lisp libraries work in Armed Bear. Um, I don't know
That's
how they
cool.
managed to pull that off, but they did. And I think it's basically them using NIO to behind the scenes, but
Okay, so I
that
might.
is.
Uh,
Oh yeah, so I forgot. Name mangling is also used in for functions and structures because functions and structures, when you return them, they need to know what the structure type is. Um, da, 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 da. Where is it? Um, oh right, got it. So in C++, the way they handle the name mangling to talk to C is you have to put extern C.
gotcha.
And extern C basically tells C++, oh, you need to use um, C's name mangling. So hold on, let me share my screen because I think it's important for you to look at the differences of this, so you
Okay.
understand where I'm going to come with this. I know this sounds like a tangent, but this is going to be tied back to how CFFI works. If you just bear with me very quickly.
I'll
Um,
armed bear with you.
Armed bear. Ha 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 ha. Okay. So if you look at Wikipedia on this, it kind of actually shows you what this does in C and in C++. So in C, hold on, let me just pull up this. Yeah. In C, what it does is it just simply compiles these function names the following way. It puts like an underscore, and then it adds maybe some unique identifier afterwards, just for the main purpose of, I think, differentiating different to allow function overloading, essentially. So if you have two functions with different arguments, right, you will end up creating a new unique function. Although it used to be that way. Standard C89 didn't have function overloading. That happened much later, if I remember correctly. Um, C++,
So they
on the other hand, though, this may look like C, but this is kind of what it looks like, okay? Which is it shows you information and it combines a bunch of crap together, okay? So it uses runtime length encoding to first figure out what the length of the next set of words is. So like in this one, you could see um, Z and okay, if I remember correctly, is telling you that that the next nine characters are a symbol. So you then, you know, a symbol reader will say, okay, this is Wikipedia, okay, and if it keeps seeing
okay.
these
I was
names in
hoping
Wikipedia colon, okay, what's the next symbol?
the
Article
audio.
obviously
Oh,
has
it got
seven
better.
characters, so it reads that. Huh?
The
Can you?
my audio got garbled for a little bit. I mean, I
Oh,
still understood what you were saying, but yeah, you no longer sound like an alien.
oh, sorry. So
It's not. I think it's on my end, not your end.
so basically this name scheme that you're seeing here
Yeah.
gives you information about the type that it's being returned to, amongst other things, the full how to read in the symbol. Okay, so you don't need additional information. The name symbol in the generated compiler is
So the
a
namespace, the class, and the function name
yes, exactly.
become the label name,
Exactly. So you end up seeing,
and
if
then
you see
there's
this
some
N,
other
it's
stuff
going to be
too.
namespace. If you see E, it's going to
Uh,
be, you know, the next identifier and so forth. So it so if you read this section here in Wikipedia, this is the main one. The underscore C tells you that it's a mangled symbol. That's the starting of a mangled symbol. All right.
okay.
Um, and um, nested names are then followed by N. So basically, that reserved identifier, that underscore Z says, okay, we now have a named a mangled symbol. Let's read it. It's a nested name that consists of three things.
Yeah.
Okay, that's in runtime length encoding. So you now know Wiki. Um, and then the E at the end is telling you that the end of the read. This is a function with P or Z9 Z to this function. So the V basically tells you that there are no arguments. Okay, because it returns if it's a void function, it's going to be V. All right.
Okay.
If it returns a string, it's going to return something else. So like in this case here, um, where is it? The print2 is going to be the better one. Um, yeah, the print2 is a better one because of the fact that you could see that this is also a nested name, Wikipedia's article print. But here, after print 2 in the E, we get the arguments, right? So that's saying that we have a reference to a standard output stream.
Gotcha.
Okay.
RSO. And then the return value type Boolean is in here somewhere.
Yes, it
ZN9
is
Wikipedia 7
in
article 8 print 2
the Boolean
ERSO.
is it's in hold on 1 second. This is the complete name, but it doesn't have hold on. I thought the return type is in here. The return type also is an improved version. Functions don't have return types encoded.
Yeah, I was just
Okay,
thinking
so
like
that's in Rust.
maybe you don't need that because the code just treats it however it treats it. So it
Well,
doesn't.
it depends on the language. So with C++, it doesn't look like the return type is encoded. In Swift and other languages, it is. So
Okay.
that's kind of why, um, at the end of the day, all of these name mangling schemes,
Yeah.
if you want them to talk to each other, the easiest thing to do is just pick
Use
C has the lowest common denominator amongst them because it's guaranteed. Which brings us to a common Lisp.
okay.
This is a standard created the form function interface on top of the C API because that was more stable before C++. Because remember, UFFI, CFFI was basically an improvement on UFFI, which is their form function interface, but both ended up um, adhering to C as their basis for actually doing name mangling. All right.
Okay.
So um, with Poplar and all these other languages that are inside apt, unfortunately, I hate this, and I'm almost certain this is true. You can either you could test this yourself by running nm. If you see _z,
Yeah.
you're dealing with a C++ encoded a binary.
Okay.
nm yeah, will show you, I think, the public symbols for p.
Do I need to do like nm
What was it? There is a flag.
which
Hold on,
PDF
man.
to text?
I have to go and man nm because I always forget the exact flags.
No
Um,
symbols.
the symbol, the symbol tables.
Dash. Nope. Symbol.
Uh, the,
Dash capital U.
yes, display only a defined symbol is probably the easiest way.
Well, yeah,
No,
still
no.
no.
Okay, that's an executable.
Okay.
You need a shared library.
Oh, okay.
So
Uh,
like libpopular. Do you have libpopular installed?
I do have libpoppler installed.
Do an apt show just to make sure.
It's called like Poplar 134 or something. Libpoppler 134.
Yeah, I think so. Or libpopular Qt5,
We looked
something
at it
like
a
that.
little bit ago.
Yeah, it's libpopular Qt5, I think is what it was, or Qt6.
Here. Well, there's also this.
Oh yeah, you
This
could
one
do
is
that one too.
definitely
Yeah.
installed.
Okay, then do apt show that or nm-u.
That
Yeah. Does
uh
it show the location? No, it doesn't.
the location of the file?
Yeah, no, it just gives you
Oh,
giving you the metadata.
is it dpackage dash L, I think?
Yeah.
Libpoppler. Oh no. Uh
because you need if you can if
I
you
don't.
know
I'm
where it's
not inside of
located,
a
you
full
could do an
terminal.
nm. You could do an nm dash capital U to actually look at its symbols. Um,
Uh, nope. There we go.
read.
How do I find what files were installed by an apt package named libpoplar134?
Okay, Claude, what are you going to do?
Go. dpackage dash capital L. I was so close. But this still isn't going to look very good because it's in this. Oh, okay. That printed out okay. All
Okay,
right. So
so the user lib there is what you want. Okay,
nm
nm dash
dash.
capital U. Yeah,
Nope.
no symbols. What? Wait a second. Do an just an try to run just nm on that. I don't. I'm surprised that it doesn't have any symbols. Oh, is it because it's not in debug mode? Um,
Could be.
because, I don't know. No, 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 no. Wait. Um,
So another thing that I was thinking about is maybe the information that I'm extracting from the PDFs is available in some other way, like in a structured format from the government directly from like irs.gov. Um, this whole like how getting the information from a PDF that was itself generated from structured information um, is like it seems doable, but it also seems like wow, if I could just get access to the original structured data, that would be nice. Like surely somewhere the information about like what constitutes this year's
hey,
taxes.
could you just try?
I can try something else, yeah. Um go back to the command line. Oh wow. I, man, I wish I could figure out why
Yeah.
my
If you didn't
computer
hear
is.
me or what? So
Yeah,
I
I hear
just was
you.
okay. So just run nm dash g on that on that
That
uh yeah.
okay.
There's literally nothing in there. That's hilarious. Wow. Okay. How are you? How if I link against this, how does it know that I'm calling a particular function? That's hilarious. Okay.
Good question.
Um. Uh.
Did I do the share? No, I did lib. Okay, let's see if I go. Oh, the share is just docs. This lib.
What
Wait,
is
how
the
is this
different?
different?
Yeah.
Oh,
Try that.
the version number. Um, it should be one of these is a symlink to the other one. I forget which.
Right.
Probably this one is a symlink to this one, or whichever one is the most recent. But okay. Oh, I already did it. Well, I guess I didn't do dash G on both of them. Yeah.
There's
So
nothing.
it's not doing it
It
on the
can't find any
symlink.
symbols. That's hilarious. Um.
Well, worst case, like you started saying, we can do use Common Lisp as a shell to uh, create some of the other files. So we can create this using a shell command, and it has inside of it uh, XHTML that has all of the coordinates. Um, I haven't actually seen the tags doc, page, flow, block, line, word. I haven't seen any of those tags.
Okay.
But and I don't see anything up here that says like which it just says XHTML, so I don't know what's up with that. But like it seems fairly easy to guess what is what these tags are. Like here's a document, here's a page of that document. Not exactly what flow is, but like block makes sense. It's a block of text, and then line makes sense. It's a line of text. Um, oof.
In terms of generated is for each individual page, um, but in there, finding the input block that you're looking for is more of the
Yeah.
the
So
challenge.
I put this value to be able to find it easily. It doesn't look to me as though the input field is marked any different than all the other fields, which is kind of unfortunate.
I agree,
However,
but there is something that I want to also bring up here.
yeah.
I was hoping that we could potentially potentially but this would require some analysis of these of what's displayed here, to be honest. Um, recognize if something is an input versus an output.
Oh yeah. So let me see if I can find it somewhere up here. One of the other command line tools gave me output. Yeah, this. So this output, um, this says what the fields are. Like this is one of the input fields. This is a bunch of information about one of the input fields. So one of them is the field that has a bunch of A's in it. Um, so here, I don't know why field value shows up 3 times, but the last one has the value that's actually in that field. Um, I actually in Clojure I wrote a tool that goes through and finds every input field and fills the field with the field's name. So this right here, this value, this is like in the PDF. How do you identify this specific field? Um, and then I went through and I had it fill in for the value of that field, that the identifier for that field, and that way I could do this when I'm inspecting the PDF. Um, it's a little bit easier for me to write the association between the field that needs to get filled in, and like
So
what
how did
the
you do this
semantic
exactly?
value is. Uh, what what this are you asking about? There's a few different things I did here.
The inputting of the PDF there that you did this. Like, did you do this? I'm assuming you did this all programmatically, right?
Yeah, well, except for this one. Um, this one I just filled out to make it really super easy to find in the
So you
out.
filled it out, downloaded it like that, and then you
I
used that as the basis to actually go and figure out everything else.
Yeah, so when I'm writing the code, so when I wrote the Clojure version of the thing that fills out this form automatically,
Yeah.
um, I I write a bunch of Eden files. I write a bunch of like declaring which field has which value, or like should get which value. So like I have in an Eden file, there's a prompt with this value, and the PDF field associated with it. It's not this. It's not a bunch of A's. It looks like this. It's probably topmost subform 0, page 1, F104 is probably the value that goes here. Um, but I made an Eden file. Actually, I can just go open one up. Resources 2024 USA. And then let's go with form 1040. So here's an Eden file, your first name, and so it's an array of individual questions like this one. So it's a sequence of these questions, and this is a bunch of information about the question. Oh, whoops. Uh, um, so here is a bunch of information about the question, like what section it's in, and then here is the PDF key. So later, when I prompt the user for an answer, then once I have an answer, however I get the answer, the code then knows like, okay, this is the PDF field to put that answer into. Um, this one's actually a little bit complicated, this specific one, because I told you about how it's a combination of two different fields, the first name and the middle initial. Um, but anyway, the reason that I made, oh, it's crashing out again. Uh, Encoding overloaded. Consider turning down video settings or using a faster encoding preset. Yeah, I'll do that. Um, I don't hear anything from you. Do do do
Oh,
do 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 do.
again.
Yeah. Okay. Hi.
Up.
Cool. I'm breaking up. I'm breaking up with you. um.
I'm just saying. I keep hearing you in like in fragments.
Yeah.
Is basically what I'm hearing over
Yeah.
the headphones. Okay.
Yeah. So I write this Eden file by hand right now, and that's basically what I'm trying to automate. Is
That's fine. I'm
this?
just kind of this Eden file that you you wrote.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, and essentially this looks like basically an array of key value pairs, which is
Yeah.
essentially an associative array. Um,
It's an
well,
array
it's an array
of
of an array of key value pairs is what it is. But in this
yeah,
case, it's basically an array of dictionaries.
yeah.
Um,
It's an array of dicts. For
um,
the Python
yes,
people.
it's an array of dicts. All right. Um, I was curious.
Yeah.
When you so clearly you got this format from somewhere, right? Section, PDF key, type, whatever. Okay.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I mean, I got that by like visually inspecting. Um,
okay, so you,
so like
yeah, but the
this
Eden file,
section
how did
is
the
I
Eden
called
file
this.
be able to translate your dictionary into essentially something to do with search in the library for the library that you wrote that you leveraged in closure.
So I wrote this file
Okay.
to ingest a bunch of the array of those dictionaries. Oh man. Okay, I'll wait for a little bit. A B C D E F G H I J K L M N O P Q R S T U
You're
V.
back.
I'm coming back slowly. You sound garbled to me at the moment. Hello? Hey, there we go. Okay, cool.
Hello.
So this starts with the Eden file for California's Form 540. And that's just hard coded because this whole thing is for me, and that's where I start. And it turns out that like if you order everything by like dependency, the 540 comes first, because it depends on everything else. So if you start with the 540 and then you just go through it, and every time it has a question that depends on something else, you then go load that other thing. you'll go through everything. So like the 540 at some point depends on the federal 1040.
That's right. Okay. That's in
And
California.
yeah, and most states, or at least Wisconsin, also depends on the 1040. I imagine basically every state that has a state income depends on the 1040 at some point.
That's right.
Anyway,
But I don't
so
know how yeah, each of the Illinois, like Illinois, I think with the exception of Texas, I think the majority of states, well, Texas and Florida, the majority of states take do state income taxes as well.
yeah, there's
Um,
something like 9 states that don't, maybe
right.
around there. Anyway, so this file is a bunch of like, once I have all the questions from an individual form, then it fills out the form by going question by question, and then if it needs to, it'll load the questions that question depends on, and then it'll do the same thing for that form. Um, and then so yeah, so this is the code that ingests those that array of dictionaries and fills out the PDF based on it. Hello? And I was telling you, uh, I'm gonna go into the PDF.
My phone was just texting me. Someone was texting me, so I just put my phone on silent.
Gotcha. Um,
Can you hear
I
me?
yeah, I hear you now. I really need to spend some time just troubleshooting why the heck my computer slows down so much when I record now. It used to be like I went back and I looked at older videos on my channel, and I have a lot of them that have no trouble at all, and I'm recording like a much larger section of the screen.
I
So
feel
I don't know.
and this might be the case. I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel though it might be a combination of OBS, a Jitsi, and whatever else you're running on your system that might be taking up some RAM. You might have a couple of programs that are being bit of hogs. Like I think Chrome over time has this very similar problem that Firefox used to,
Yeah, it
where
could
a
be.
couple of tabs will use up a lot of memory.
So,
Um,
in even in those old videos, I was using Jitsi and OBS to do the recording. Jitsi to do the meeting, and OBS to do the recording. Um, anyway, so I switched files. That other file reads through and deals with like determining whether a question depends on a different form than has already been loaded and doing all of that kind of stuff. And then this file, pdf.clj, is the file that actually fills in the forms. And then there's also some utility functions, PDF set generic. So, like, most of the code that sets a field, um, it's doing it again. Most of the code that sets a field ends up being very similar. And so I wrote a generic function that extracts all of the similar stuff. And then there's individual functions that do specific things like setting a number or setting a text, like this one does a checkbox, I guess. Or no, I guess
mhm.
this one determines what the possible values are for a checkbox. Oh, yeah. So you might think, oh, checkbox, that's like you have a Boolean, right? Nope. PDF, you can have a whole bunch of different on and off values. Um, in practice, all of the fields say off for unchecked, but the on might be a number. It might be the word on. It might be true. Uh, it might be like the value next to the checkbox. So like if the checkbox is like the field that says your filing status, it might be the word for the filing or the phrase next to that. So like single or married, filing separately, or head of household or something. Anyway,
Mm-hmm.
that's just a little bit of a tangent about like the PDF checkboxes being in a state of complete disarray. Um, but yeah, so this is where this file is where the information, this key is used. The PDF key is used from in that file. So let me go back to the PDF file and find PDF key. Uh, let's see. Okay, so here's a place where it's setting the text for a PDF file, a specific key in that file to a specific value. That's what that Eden PDF key. That's what this key is here for, and that's why I made a function that fills in every single field with what the key is, so that when I'm writing this Eden file, I can just have the PDF open side by side, and it makes it a lot easier to fill out this part.
Okay,
Uh,
and you're using essentially, you effectively want something similar in that you could leverage potentially, say, this
if I
Eden
could
file, like in Common Lisp,
if I could write code
as
that
like a
would
property list more than likely to essentially do the same thing, right?
yeah,
Um,
if I could write code that generated this entire array for me,
hmm
that's what I'm going for. And I think
Okay.
it's at least uh it's possible to automate it more than it currently is automated. So like
Right, right.
in there's a few different kinds of text fields here. There's ones where the label is just above the text field.
hmm
Um, and then there's ones where the text field is like either to the left or to the right of the label. So here's a checkbox, and then the label is to the right. And then actually, maybe that's always the
Just one
case.
follow-up question though,
Yeah.
because this is an interesting thing that I'm curious about related to PDF to text.
Okay.
Um, did you ever run the processed version? Well, did you ever run PDF to text on the unprocessed PDF?
Yeah.
And if so, how does the um input fields look, their input lines?
They're just blank. Uh, try that right now. I'll close this and then I'll try that. Um, and then I gotta go. I'm gonna close this so that I can open it up in this other way, and then um, close. Oh shoot. Save, replace, close, and then now I'll go back here and PDF to text. Oh yeah, so this gave me a text file. So I'll do the same thing, but this time with the AAA.pdf, and then I will open a 2024 USA AAA.txt. This is what that looks like. The field, your first name and middle initial. It used to have right here a bunch of A's. Does that answer your question? So like right now, I deleted the A's from right here, but uh, if I actually you can see this field still has this key in it. This is an input field, and it doesn't. Unfortunately, I don't see a way from the text to tell that this is an input field. Um, but like a combination of uh the
HTML
hello.
file.
Yeah, so if we go back to the HTML file here, do 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 do. So here's where that input was. Oh, I didn't rerun it. I don't know if it would regenerate this. So this is line
Yeah,
142. I guess we could try it and see what happens.
yeah.
And then it will be time for me to go. So this, wait, hold on. Line 142. Okay, go, and then we'll go back. Uh, reopen.
It looks like it opened, but reopen again. Yeah, there you go. And then row
142.
142.
Wait, what? Hold
It
on. Let
just
me.
deleted.
I thought I deleted it. Let me go
You
open
did
it up
delete it, but
using
I don't
libpoppler.
see the. It just didn't
Oh,
extract it.
this is just the next line. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah. So it just didn't generate
That's
output in
hilarious.
here, I guess.
So it didn't even generate a line for you.
I
I was hoping
guess
that it would at the very least give you some sort of
like a blank line. Yeah.
that's hilarious. That's not cool at all.
Yeah, but it's kind of like it's more annoying than that because the like it's not like this line is necessarily the label for this line. It is. It just so happens to be on this one, but let's see if we can find one where it's not. Also, I don't know where this T is in the PDF. Um, like I can figure it out given that it gives me the PDF, the X and the Y coordinates, like the bounding box. But yeah, there's just this like
I
floating
think a
T.
first interesting thing to do,
Yeah,
and this might be something I'm gonna try myself,
yeah,
um, is write a maybe not so much a I mean it could be done in Common Lisp with libpoppler, but basically read in the PDF as is, okay, and
yeah.
correctly parse it to transform it to an equivalent HTML file that you're seeing here
Yeah.
with all the input fields to be correctly marked. Um,
Yeah.
so this way your transformation becomes easier, right? You don't
Okay.
necessarily, it becomes we can label it. If we wrote our own parser using libpoppler directly
Okay.
ourselves instead of using PDF to text,
Yeah, it
okay?
seems like the information is there. It's extractable somehow.
Right. If we're able to essentially generate an HTML document as a
Uh-huh.
command line application, you could then use Common Lisp to essentially leverage that to effectively generate that HTML document for you, and then use XPath queries, like because there is a Common Lisp library to allow you to write XPath queries to
Yeah.
find those pieces and then auto fill out that information.
So I
So
think
you still need an external tool to actually do the initial transformation, but then after that, it can all be written in Common Lisp.
yeah, and maybe down the road we can bring more of it into Common Lisp
Right,
if
exactly.
that seems like
Replace
a worthwhile.
the back end that generates
Um,
that HTML into something that's Common Lisp once we actually effing
most
understand the PDF standard.
a thing that we that like seems like it also might be doable is like this. We can tell that this is the text of something. And there's nothing intrinsic like about any of this metadata around it that seems to suggest that this is the text in an input field, but the text itself is like topmost subform
Hmm.
that doesn't appear on the 1040. Like there's no input field where the label is topmost subform. Um, so I think there's oh yeah, and in the California form, all of the keys are things like 540 dash something something. So so I think that is another thing that should make it fairly easy. Also, maybe we'll just end up using ABCL and iText PDF because I'm already able to extract a lot of information using iText PDF. So maybe I'll just use iText PDF. And this HTML is extracted from iText. So yeah, that seems like the way to go. Anyway, I should go. Thanks for consulting,
No problem.
working with
And
me on
we
this
can touch base next week. In the meantime, I'm gonna. You probably gave me something to look into.
to think
So
about.
yeah,
Cool.
just to think about, because this would
Have
be an
fun.
interesting thing to do. Even in Go, I'm wondering if I can use Go to actually just write this out very quickly. All right,
Yeah. Are you going to
all
look
right.
into like the definition of what exactly a PDF is and then write code to parse it? Is that
Yes,
what you're thinking? Oh, okay. Cool.
and I think Go already has a PDF parser library that I could just leverage.
Cool. All
So,
right.
all right.
Later.
See ya. Bye.